On June 10, 2020, Nikola's founder stood on stage and rolled a hydrogen truck down a hill, then claimed it drove itself. What he didn't mention, the truck was in neutral, it rolled, that's all, but the market didn't care. By that afternoon, Nikola's valuation hit $33 billion, more than Ford. This wasn't a company with revenue, this was a bet, and like all bets made in a fever, it was about to break. Let's rewind to 2014. Trevor Milton was 28 years old, a high school dropout with zero automotive experience. But he had something more valuable, a narrative. He founded Nikola Motors and told investors a story about hydrogen trucks that would revolutionize American logistics. The timing was flawless. Tesla had just proven that electric vehicles could excite markets. Elon Musk was the richest man alive. And Wall Street was hungry for the next disruption. Milton faced a choice every entrepreneur faces under pressure: move fast or move honest. He chose speed. Nikola released glossy renderings of trucks that didn't exist. They posted videos of prototypes on closed courses. They announced partnerships with major corporations: General Motors, Bosch, Iveco. Each announcement raised the stock. Each stock raise validated the narrative. The machine fed itself. By 2019, Nikola was the darling of CNBC. Milton appeared on national television. He was worth $1 billion on paper. The narrative had become bulletproof. Hydrogen trucks were the future. Nikola would dominate the space. Investors didn't ask hard questions because the stock kept climbing. Due diligence becomes optional when you're making money. But there was a problem. Nikola had no manufacturing, no production facilities, no working prototypes, no revenue. What they had was a PowerPoint deck and a charismatic founder. The trucks shown in videos, many were stationary mock-ups. The hydrogen infrastructure needed to make those trucks useful, it didn't exist. The patents Milton claimed to own, questionable, but the stock kept rising. Enter Hindenburg Research. They're a short-seller firm, investors who profit when stocks collapse. In September 2020, they released a 79-page report. Their findings were methodical and devastating. Nikola had faked hydrogen truck videos using gravity. They'd misrepresented partnerships. They'd lied about technology timelines. Hindenburg had done the due diligence Wall Street had skipped. The stock fell 60% in 3 days. Investors who'd bought at the peak lost billions. General Motors killed their partnership deal. The SEC opened an investigation. Suddenly, the narrative everyone believed was exposed as fiction. Milton had made a calculation under pressure. The upside of the lie outweighed the downside of truth. He was wrong about the odds. In July 2022, Trevor Milton was indicted on 3 counts of wire fraud and conspiracy. The government alleged he defrauded investors of hundreds of millions of dollars. The trial lasted weeks. Prosecutors presented evidence of deliberate deception. Milton's defense: he believed in the vision, he just got ahead of the timeline. That distinction between fraud and optimism cost him. In December 2023, Milton was convicted. The jury found him guilty on all counts. He faced up to 25 years in prison. The man who'd been worth $1 billion on paper was now facing prison time. The narrative had inverted completely. Instead of a visionary, he was a cautionary tale about the cost of deception. But here's what makes Nikola's collapse instructive for understanding how markets really work. Milton didn't create the conditions for fraud. Wall Street did. Investors were desperate for the next Tesla. Media outlets needed stories to drive clicks. Analysts were paid to be bullish. The incentive structure rewarded narrative over substance. Milton simply exploited what was already broken. The cost was staggering. Retail investors lost approximately $4 billion in market value. General Motors wrote off their investment. Nikola's stock, which hit $93 at its peak, traded for under $4 within 3 years. Thousands of people who believed in the vision lost savings. Milton's decision to lie didn't just hurt him, it rippled through thousands of lives. What's crucial here is understanding Milton's calculation at the time. In 2019, when he was rolling that truck downhill, he wasn't thinking about prison. He was thinking about momentum. Every founder faces a moment where they can either admit the technology isn't ready or claim victory and buy more time. Most choose the latter, most get away with it. Milton didn't. The Hindenburg report was crucial because short sellers, despite their bad reputation, sometimes do the work that legitimate institutions won't. They profit from fraud, yes, but in doing so they expose it. Hindenburg had no incentive to be wrong. Their reputation depended on accuracy. That's why their 79-page report landed so hard, it was meticulous. Nikola's collapse teaches us 3 things about how fraud scales in modern markets. First, narrative moves faster than skepticism. By the time journalists ask hard questions, the stock's already tripled. Second, incentives are misaligned. Underwriters make fees on IPOs whether the company succeeds or fails. Analysts are pressured to stay bullish to keep corporate clients happy. Third, we want to believe. Investors wanted hydrogen trucks to be real. Milton made his choice under pressure with incomplete information. He knew the trucks weren't ready. He knew the infrastructure didn't exist. But he also knew that admitting those truths would kill the company, so he lied. He rolled a gravity-powered truck downhill and called it innovation. For a moment, it worked. Then the math caught up. Today, Nikola still exists as a company. It's worth a fraction of its peak. It has some real manufacturing. It's building actual trucks slowly, expensively, without the hype. There's a bitter irony. If Milton had been honest about timelines, Nikola might have succeeded modestly. Instead, his deception destroyed investor trust in the entire hydrogen truck sector. His lie didn't just hurt himself. It hurt everyone betting on the real future of that technology. What Trevor Milton's story reveals isn't unique to him. It's the story of every founder who faces the pressure of growth and chooses narrative over honesty. The difference is that most don't get caught. Most navigate the gap between vision and reality without federal charges. Milton was unlucky, or perhaps the gap he jumped was just too wide. The Nikola collapse is a masterclass in how ambition, pressure, and broken incentive structures can combine into fraud. It's also proof that fraud eventually gets exposed, not always by regulators, but sometimes by people who profit from truth. The market's immune system is weak, but it exists, and when it activates, the cost to the liar is total. Subscribe to see how the next corporate collapse happens before the headlines do.